Hi, my name is Carmel Monti. I'm with Mother's Organic Garden Products, and we're going to show you the setup of a worm farm today. It's going to include the care and handling of the worms. First thing we do is we'll show you one of our versions of a worm farm, which is called a can of worms. It is a black plastic piece that's made in Australia out of recycled battery parts. That's what the inside looks like. We set it on a base. We generally have these kind of legs for the base that just pop up into the bottom of the unit, but today we're showing another retrofit of a welded base that we think is kind of a nice attractive base. The bottom of the unit is a reservoir where the worm tea collects from the worms as you use the process, and then there are 3 layers on top of that reservoir, which include where the worms live. This will be the first one that we're going to set up today, and we place that on the reservoir container, and then we put a piece of paper or cardboard on the bottom of that unit, that first unit. To that we're going to add the bedding. It can be either coconut core, which is coconut that's shredded, or shredded paper like this, from just a regular shredder at home. And we're going to put about 2 inches of this bedding into the base of the first unit. This is newspaper or magazine shredded. It is going to give them the bedding as well as they will eat it because it's a carbon source, just like wood products. And then when you receive your worms, there'll be approximately 2 pounds for this to start with, and you put those into the center of the unit. Okay? Then what we'll do is we'll cover the worms. Then on a weekly basis, we're going to let them get acclimatized. I didn't put exactly 2 pounds of worms in there. I just did it for demonstration purposes. On a weekly basis, what you're going to do is you're going to take your chopped up food, as in this example, there's bananas here, strawberries. You're going to take all your vegetables, your fruits, your breads, everything except dairy and meat products. And you're going to then cover that food back up where the worms are, and you're going to leave them alone for about a week. And then on a weekly basis, you're going to do 2 other things as well. You're going to be spreading on top of the worms and on the bedding volcanic ash. And about a cupful per week, per layer. So in this case, I'm just adding the first layer, so I'm only going to add a small cupful. The volcanic ash aids in the process for the worms because the worms do not have teeth, they have gizzards, they grind their food in their stomach, or in their gizzards. So when you add that form of grit, you can also use eggshells and limes, but volcanic ash has 77 trace elements in it also, like cadmium, boron, magnesium, manganese, all the things that are in the periodic chart. So not only does it give them the grit for them to digest their food or grind their food, but it also adds elements of nutrients, trace elements of nutrients, both in the worm tea and the worm castings that are produced in the system. Then you would take the cover on it, and you would cover them up, and leave them alone for a week. The next week you do the same process again. You basically make a little center section for the food, pour it in, put the worms on top, put your volcanic ash, and then you're going to start adding 1 quart of water per layer per week. So this being the first layer, you'll take a quart of water, and you will wash down the worms. That'll wash over the worms and fall down into the reservoir on the bottom where your worm tea is collected. Each layer will add volcanic ash, 1 quart of water, and food. And then as it flows down over the worms, it'll collect in here. You open the spigot, and after the first couple of weeks, you're able to start taking your worm tea out. The first couple of times the worm tea goes through the system, we recommend that you put it back over the worms to make a little heavier concentration of the worm tea, or make it a little stronger. Thereafter, you can take it out, and then you can start using the worm tea as a plant food and a natural insecticide. This is how we bottle the worm tea. It's called Vermi-Tea, and this bottle will make 10 gallons of plant food. You take approximately 1/2 of a cup, or about 2.5 ounces to a gallon of water, and you mix that into a sprayer. And at the early morning or the end of the day, when the leaf openings are open to respire between CO2 and carbon dioxide and oxygen, that leaves are open to take in the plant nutrient at the same time. They go through the stoma or the stomata of the leaves. So you want to spray it at the end of the day or the early morning also, because the UV rays will kill the live microbes that are in the worm tea. The worm tea has attributes besides being a plant food. It's a natural insecticide that will work on black spot for roses, chinch bugs, aphids, It even works on sago palm scale, which is kind of unheard of for the state of Florida. We also make the worm tea in a pre-made concentration so that it's ready to spray on. You don't have to dilute it. And this bottle of tea that makes 10 gallons costs $12.
Carmel, is there anything you want to protect the worms from? Is there anything that they're very sensitive to?
Good question, Charlie. The worms like to live at around 70 to 80 degrees. They can live between 40 and 90 degrees, so you want to keep them comfortable. So that means in the Florida summers, you're probably going to you take a bottle like this plastic bottle, put it in your freezer, freeze the water, place that whole bottle on top of the worms with a piece of paper over the top, and that'll keep them cool in the summertime. You also don't want to put the worms in direct sunlight or in direct rain because there's holes on the top of these containers and that will drown the worms. So you want to make sure that basically you keep them out of direct sun and out of direct rain. Also, as I mentioned, if it's cold in the wintertime, you might want to bring them in from the lanai or your outside area into the house during the frost period. If it's well balanced, which is very easy to do, you won't have any smell issues, you won't have any bug issues. Generally, if it's out of balance, it's usually because it's too moist, too soggy, and then adding shredded paper to it usually eliminates that problem.
And where can we get this fantastic product?
Oh, the fantastic product is available from your farmers markets at Sarasota, and St. Pete, and Tarpon Springs, and also from our headquarters here in Sefner. We're at 9107 Taylor Road in Sefner, Florida. We're part of another company called Mother's Organics, and they have a 60-acre compost facility, which is about a mile away from us, where they make soil out of recycled green waste. Or you can order it via the web page also, which will have an order blank in the near future.